Partly sunny, high around 54, and then Saturday, a 90% chance of rain, high around 46. But again today, showers and thunderstorms possible, high around 69.
Some people just have a knack for being there when you need them the most, like your third grade classmate who sticks up for you against that bullet, the neighbor who gives you the jump start, and the friend who chases away that flock of geese at your outdoor wedding. Your State Farm agent has your back, too, through good times and the not-so-good. And who's got your agent's back? State Farm, the company people have trusted for more than 90 years. We're here to help life go right. Call State Farm agent Barkley Hudson at 270-365-7521.
Stretch your tax dollars at Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress in Hopkinsville with 12 months interest-free financing and savings up to 50% off. He'll even pay the sales tax for you. Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress has a great selection of adjustable bed bases and mattresses. For a custom look, stop in and look at England, Craftmaster, or Lazy Boy for the furniture of your dreams. Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress, where you always get the best selection, best furniture at the best price. Fort Campbell Boulevard, Hopkinsville.
Always the best.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
Pro Collision in Princeton is so thankful for their loyal customers. They know that a collision is the last thing you want or need in your life, but they're thankful that you have trusted them through the years, 34. They will restore your vehicle to Pro Collision condition. Jim King and his staff are ASE and ICAR certified with a climate-controlled facility. That means no moisture, which means a better repair for you. Thanks again for your business from Pro Collision Body Shop, a certified collision repair center in Princeton, Kentucky.
The 49th Annual Princeton Optimist Club Radio Auction is here March 9th through the 13th at Butler Gym. Tune in to WPKY 103.3 nightly following the 5 p.m. news to hear all the action. To make your bids, call 270-365-5866. The auction coverage is brought to you by the Cat's Tales Used Books, Dick's John's Barbecue, Treasures Remembered, Marlis Realty, the Joshua Tree Boutique, Fredonia Valley Bank, Hometown Smokes, Wallace Towing, and the Princeton Optimist Club.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
Imagine if there were a place you could go to buy gift certificates to some of the best businesses in town. Now, imagine all those great gift certificates priced 30, 35, 40%, and at times over 60% or more off retail every day of the week. The Loyal Listener Big Deal Store is online and waiting for you to shop and buy gift certificates to local businesses. Go to WPKYonline.com.
It's time for your SportsEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is Todd Griffin of WPKY Radio and your SportsEdge.com. Got a busy show today. Lots going on. Tiger baseball coach Bradley Stallins is with us. Ty Engelbright sticking around on the show. And Bradley, first of all, this morning, a lot going on with this coronavirus deal. And how is that going to end up affecting you guys, if it has any effect on the play locally here?
You know, we really don't know. You know, I think we'll just kind of leave that to the experts, and we'll handle with what we can, and you know, prepare the best we can. But at the same time, you know, it does kind of put some things in perspective. But you know, we just go on as we're doing, and leave that to the doctors and the experts and the administration. So
it does look like the KHSAA is kind of battling the same thing all the professional and college sports leagues are battling, and it wouldn't surprise me if at some point we didn't hear that they're going to clear the crowds at the state basketball tournaments.
Right. You know, I don't think it would surprise anybody at this point. You know, I think it's at this point, it's kind of the flow. It's kind of the way things are directed, and I think that the people that are making decisions in the best interest of everybody, and we kind of have to give them the benefit of the doubt and do what's best for our society as a whole at this point.
So lots to talk about here on the show today. Ty, thanks for hanging around with us again.
Great to be here, and it'll be interesting to see. We were talking about it off air before we came on about all this, and we were talking in a way, there's a lot of information out there. When you have a lot of information out there, whether it's accurate or not, it just sort of seems to get cluttered and a little bit confusing. So hopefully we'll sort through at least what we know and to hear. And as we discuss, and I'm going to be interesting, of course, Larry Vaught's going to be on the show today. Be interesting in his intake. He's down in Nashville for the SEC tournament coverage. So be interesting to hear his take on what's going on down there.
Yeah, my mom and dad are down there.
Are they down there? Yeah.
A lot of people headed down that way. And
I haven't
now
talked to them yet. But
Nashville loves Kentucky fans,
absolutely.
as we know. And it's going to be interesting to see, that they're going to take a hit.
Right.
So lots to talk about here on the show today. We need to get to a break first, though. Back with more on the Sideline Report after this on WPKY.
Your home team at Trice-Hughes wants to help you stretch your vehicle budget as far as it will go. That's why they offer a large selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs under $10,000. As always, financing is not a problem. If you're receiving a tax refund and need a vehicle, your first stop should be with your home team at Trice-Hughes. Vehicles under $10,000.
Buy your next vehicle from the home team. Find them on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or at tricehughes.com.
First Southern National Bank's Southern roots run deep. Founded in a small Kentucky town, First Southern has always used their example, influence, and resources to help others make wise financial decisions. They know you want to be in charge of your money and to feel valued by your bank. At First Southern Bank, you're more than a number, which is why they've provided personalized service to their customers for more than 35 years. Visit fsnb.net to learn more. Member FDIC.
Does your nonprofit engage volunteers to fulfill your social mission? Is there a need to better engage volunteers to meet critical community needs? If so, learn how to improve volunteer engagement across your organization through participating in the Service Enterprise Initiative. The Service Enterprise Certificate Program includes a comprehensive organizational assessment, training series, and professional coaching. Expand the impact of your organization through volunteers. Visit serve.ky.gov.
The 49th Annual Princeton Optimist Club Radio Auction is underway and can be heard nightly on WPKY 103.3 FM through this Friday. Stop by each night and view the items at the Butler Building, and bidding can take place on-site or over the phone. All the money goes to youth activities in Caldwell and Lyon counties, including scholarships. So be generous during the 49th Annual Princeton Optimist Club Radio Auction, continuing each night through Friday and heard on WPKY 103.3 FM, your hometown radio station.
This is Todd Griffin with your SportsEdge.com. Every Thursday morning in the 8 a.m. hour here on WPKY, we bring you the Sideline Report. This is your invitation to join us as we talk sports. Sometimes it's local sports. Sometimes we talk about national sports news. We always have a guest, and you are always invited to listen. The Sideline Report is brought to you in part by ABC Finance, U-Ride, and Bashir Sawmill. I'll be looking for you to join us Thursday mornings at 8:05 for the Sideline Report. You can tune in on 1580, 103.3, or online at WPKYonline.com.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us this morning. Tiger baseball coach Bradley Stallins is with us. Ty Engelbright on the show. We'll be talking to Larry Vaught in Nashville a little bit later on. He's at the SEC tournament this week, and we've talked about the coronavirus. And I don't really want this to be a coronavirus show. We want to talk about the baseball team a little bit, and Bradley, just looking at that, you guys have what looks like a young team, but at the same time, outside of a couple of positions, it looks like you have some guys returning that do have a little experience.
Yes, and the scrimmage on Saturday was a good thing for us, because today we were supposed to scrimmage Hoptown today, but it's been canceled due to the rain and the anticipated weather we've got moving in. That kind of combined. Coach Leach kind of reached out to me yesterday and said that they would have to cancel, and I told him I completely understand. understand. And so we were kind of looking forward to that opportunity to get, a double dose to see exactly where we were. But Saturday was really good. We're young. There's no bones about it. And we're young, and that's okay. You're going to have cycles. It is, and we know going into that. But at the same time, what an opportunity for these other young men, to play and to experience the game of baseball. So it's just part of that cycle as a coach. But there is promise, and these young kids that we say it all the time, and you and I've talked about this, and experience is one of those things. How do you get experience? Well, you got to get experience. You got to jump in the fire at some point. So without getting experience, you don't have it. So it's something we've been blessed with over the years. As far as talent goes, and we've been on a great cycle of talent here at Caldwell County, and that talent's still there. It's just got to get a little experience.
Yeah, you look at the run over the last 5 or 6 years, and what is it? You guys have been in the regional championship game 3 times out of 4 years, something like that, and a lot of that has been because you've had such great pitching coming through. And this year, you guys have a lot of pitchers. What you're looking for is a number 1 and a number 2 to kind of emerge.
Right, and the arms are there. Coach McCoy's done an absolutely great job working those guys and putting them on a regiment. And we mapped that out early in the fall early fall. And those kids started working the plan right after, really right after football season, and in November, and some of them were even working it in October when the weather was still good outside. So those that didn't play football, but they've done an excellent job, and we knew coming in that that was the area that really took the toughest hit, was the experience, the amount of innings that we are giving up from last year to this year. But again, there you go. You got guys that we can put out there that are going to do a great job as the year goes on, but they've got to get their feet wet, and that's part of it. And being patient as a coach, that's what I told them. We're going to make mistakes. That's part of it. We're not going to get upset if they make mistakes, if they whatever. But the one thing that we have to demand is their focus and effort, and that's the only way we're going to get better. And so far, they've given us that, and I'm anxious to see where we go when we start this season, because it's going to be a fresh season.
Yeah, you mentioned the scrimmage on Saturday against Christian County here. What great weather, first of all, for that day. I'd take that all spring. But I thought defensively you guys were pretty good, and if you're going to have a good pitching staff, you're going to need to be
absolutely
pretty strong behind them.
And that's the thing that we've been focused on all off season is and we say this to them on a daily basis. Guys, we're not worried about the sports center play. We're worried about the routine play. And you make the routine plays when you're dialed in before the pitch is thrown. And, that's something about, working with those kids to understand that, hey, there's situations in baseball, the old adage, every sport's a thinking man's game. I mean, that's just a thinking man's game. But, you're going to be better if you understand the sport you're playing, no matter what it is. And baseball is no different. And to understand where you're going to be before the ball's thrown and what situation you're in, and to be able to communicate out there on the field is imperative. And, that's what we're working on with these guys. And I was pleasantly surprised Saturday with where we were. I think we played 10 innings, 9 innings, something like that, and didn't give up didn't have an error. That was kind of one of those bright spots of that scrimmage.
And the pitching was pretty strong too. And going into the year, you guys had that long run of district championships, and Madisonville finally got you last year. Madisonville kind of the team to beat again this year going into the season?
In our district, absolutely, I think. Madisonville lost a couple of their good arms, but they've still got 2 really good, young men back. And then they've got a whole team that's good, but two guys that are regional players to watch, and probably should be watched along the state, with, one of them being one of the maybe in the running for one of the more offensive dominant players in the state, and that's Hogart, John Hogart. And it seems like I'm sure this is what people thought with the guys that we've graduated the last 2 years. Like, are they ever going to graduate?
They've been there forever,
right? And that's kind of what I think about Hogart. That young man's been there forever, and he's been somebody that can absolutely rake at the plate for a high school hitter. We played him 3 times last year, and we didn't get the young man out until the district tournament. And it's not that we didn't throw him beach balls or anything. Yeah. The young man can just flat out hit, and it's neat to see.
Now, we found out yesterday that Caldwell County will be in the All-A Classic again next season. You guys get to play in that this year. Unfortunately, though, last year you guys did not get to play in the All-A Classic, which meant you didn't get to defend your championship.
Right, and we didn't, and that's something that we get to be in. And the All-A it has its good and bad parts. It's good. It's bad because it disrupts a whole week of your scheduling. And then if you do end up winning a few games, you have to cancel on somebody else who was planning on playing you. So that is the negative part of it. But at the same time, it's a good atmosphere, especially with a young team like we have, because it's a tournament atmosphere, and to throw them in that is a positive. And I know Coach Marks that was at Madisonville for years, that used to fire him up. He's like, "Dadgummit, y'all are already so good. You get to play 2 tournaments in a year. My kids get one." But it fired it. But that is the positive thing about it, especially with a young team like we have, to get their feet wet in kind of that tight situation that you can't replicate in the regular season. You may get 1 or 2 games, but it's not a win in advance, lose and go home type atmosphere, kind of like the All-A is. And it's, sure, you've got the rest of your season, but at the same time, you have that mental approach going into it. So. And
just a few years ago, you guys were state runners-up at the All-A Classic, and that was a great run. And of course, I know a lot of Tiger fans who are still looking back to a call or two up at Lexington in the championship game that, could have, maybe, possibly, coulda, shoulda, woulda, turned that game a little bit. Right, and I'll let y'all discuss the officials. We've got to be on good terms. But it's looking back on that that game, and I've had people talk to me over the years about it, and we could have a break here or there. Not really a break, even just what should have happened, could have happened. Then you're probably looking, but at the same time. I've told those kids, and I'll always say this, and forever as long as I'm going. But don't forget, you look back on that, we made it again to the region. We won the region again, and went to the state tournament. And one of the things that those kids, that group of kids was a special group. And when you look back, I'll never forget this. After the game, they knew. I didn't have to tell them. They knew. And you could tell by the look on their face they were hurt, but at the same time they were mad. And, as a coaching staff, we were able to tap into that and say, hey, look, there's nothing we can do about this now. But if you want to get back here, meaning to, Whitaker Bank, that opportunity's still there. And I told him, I said, it's going to be a hard turnaround because that was in May. That was Derby Day, I believe, or Derby Day weekend. It was a Sunday. And, boy, was it cold for a Derby Day. But anyway, we were down there. We were playing that day. And I told him, it's going to be a quick turnaround. So we've got to put this behind, but use it for motivation. Let it pee you off a little bit, let it tick you off a little bit, but use it for motivation. And to those kids' credit, they never looked back, and that's something that drove them to the end of the season. And I was so proud of that 17 team. Been proud of all the teams, really. That 17 team, that was a quick turnaround. That was a lot to ask, but they were able to do it. Again, no scrimmage today because of the weather, so you guys will open the regular season Monday at home against Crittenden County. What is kind of the outlook or the goals, I guess, for the upcoming season? In this season we've talked to the kids a lot, and they've talked to us a lot, but one of the things, you have short-term and long-term goals. I've always believed that, and the short-term goals, I told them we have to be better at the end of the day than we were when we got here. When you walk out the gate to go home, if you didn't put in your 110, then you're not better today. And so they have to put in their 110 every day. And, and for the most part, I think they've done that. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, your ups and downs in a season and practice. At this point in time, any whether it's football, basketball, or baseball, or soccer, or whatever, right before the season is kind of the doldrums because you're ready to see somebody in opposite colored jersey. You're tired of practicing against your own guys. You're tired of seeing that. So they're ready to do that. Long-term goals, if you ask our guys, I think they're still going to tell you we don't want to be the team behind anybody. We want to win the district, and that's their goal, and that's what they're shooting for. And I think that's attainable. Well, we know you need to get out of here today, and we appreciate the time. And we've got Larry Vaught coming up on the show, but good luck to you guys and the Tiger baseball team, and should be another outstanding season. Thank you, Todd, and thanks for all that you all do here. We're looking forward to the season, and we appreciate the support that we get from everybody in the community, and we hope to see you at VFW Ballpark. That's Tiger baseball coach Bradley Stallins. We'll be back with more on the Sideline Report after this on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Raider Auction Company.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast, a 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms today and overnight. So you're going to need your umbrella or raincoat. We're going to see today's high climb to 69, tonight's low around 44. Tomorrow, partly sunny and cooler with a high around 54. Rain will enter the forecast again tomorrow night with a low around 40. And then Saturday, showers will continue with a high around 46. But again today, 90% chance of rain and storms, high around 69.
Fortner Gas is featuring their amazing mower sales and service team at the KDIZ location. Tim Cook, manager, and his staff can take care of all your mower needs, any brands, with their full service department. Fortner Gas is a certified dealer of Dixie Chopper, Big Dog, and Bobcat mowers. All have great warranties. They also offer free delivery and pickup, and customers can drop off or pick up mowers and parts at the home office in Princeton, free of charge. Check out Fortner Gas to be ready for the upcoming mowing season.
So sleek, so soft, so perfectly coiffed.
Would you look at his coat? It's so shiny.
Forget the coat. Look at that tail.
Thank you. I take all my pets to Rogers Pet Grooming. Rogers Pet Grooming is a friend of felines as well as dogs' best friend. Big or small, they love them all. Check them out on Facebook. Rogers Pet Grooming, South Jefferson Street, Princeton.
We're back on the Sideline Report on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Todd Griffin and Ty Engelbright in the WPKY studios. Good show this morning with Tiger baseball coach Bradley Stallins. Also got Larry Vaught coming up here on the show in a minute. We're going to take another break on the show, though. We'll be back with more after this on the Sideline Report on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
The Joint is serving up pulled pork, brisket, jumbo wings, ribs, chicken, and more with all the fixings to go with it from their secret family recipes, all at The Joint in Eddyville.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast, a 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms today. The Storm Prediction Center has all of Western Kentucky in a slight risk category, which means we could see severe weather with damaging wind, hail, and even tornadoes, and that will continue into the nighttime hours. We're going to see an overnight low around 44. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, high around 54. And then Saturday, a 90% chance of rain, high around 46. But again today, showers and thunderstorms possible, high around 69.
Need cash fast? Get the money you need. Call ABC Finance now.
Life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes money is tight when you need it most.
At ABC Finance, we're here for you.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
And we can help you in a pinch, even if your credit is less than perfect.
At ABC Finance, we provide loans up to $15,000 and the individual attention to help you get your finances back on track.
We are locally owned and staffed, and decisions are made quickly, usually within an hour.
No appointment is needed. Walk-ins are welcome.
You can even give us a call, and we will take your application over the phone.
Or you can apply online at abcfinanceonline.com.
And like ABC Finance on Facebook.
ABC Finance in Hopkinsville on Fort Campbell Boulevard next to O'Charlie's and in Princeton Plaza. ABC Finance.
All loans subject to normal credit approval.
The Sideline Report continues on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Todd Griffin and Ty Engelbright in the WPKY studios this morning. Again, thanks to Tiger baseball coach Bradley Stallins for coming in and spending a little time with us this morning. And now on the phone, we're going to go to Nashville, Tennessee, site of the SEC tournament. And longtime UK columnist Larry Vaught is with us on the phone. And Larry, first of all, good morning, and how are things in Nashville?
Well, things in Nashville are pretty topsy-turvy, and then on top of that, the weather forecast that you guys have there, I think maybe is even a little bit more severe here with the chance of tornadoes today. They're really stressing that to be on the alert for this afternoon, but with what's going on with the SEC tournament, not letting fans in today, and what's going on with the NCAA tournament, and now apparently the KHSAA seems like is right on the verge of canceling, postponing, or doing something with the boys' state tournament next week. It's just a turbulent time right now.
Yeah, Larry, have you ever seen anything like this?
No, the only thing I've even been close to was when I was in Atlanta a few years back, and the tornado hit and damaged the Georgia Dome, and they had to evacuate and then had the tournament played the next day over at Georgia Tech with only limited fans available. And you went out that night, there was just all that damage in the city of Atlanta, and you thought, whoa, what's going on here? But nothing health-wise like this. It's just pretty uncharted territory, and now thinking even scarier territory than I think I realized a few days ago.
Well, what is the plan now for the SEC tournament, and is it just going to be family and friends that get in, or will some fans be able to sneak in some way?
Well, I think there's a lot of fans that are going to try to see if they can find a way to sneak in from what I've talked to, but I don't know how they're going to do it. I think it's just going to be team personnel. It's going to be, obviously, there'll be some university or team or college administrators there with them too, but then credentialed media and family members. They haven't, that I've seen, restricted the number of family members, so I don't know whether if you have 6 people here with your family, which some players sometimes do, if they're all going to get in, or whether they're going to limit that, but I suspect they're going to let them all in, but there's going to be no friends/fans at all is the plan. And again, I'm kind of monitoring my phone every 30 minutes because I still think there's a chance they may end up not even playing games, or they may not end up finishing the tournament, because there was a lot of speculation among some conference folks that didn't want to be identified last night that they don't think the NCAA tournament is even going to be played. They think this announcing that it's going to be played without fans was just the first step, but they are thinking by Sunday when the pairings are actually getting ready to be made. And this was before the NBA made their decision, that you may just see there won't be any games at all in the NCAA tournament this year.
Oh, wow, that would be incredible, and just kind of uncharted territory here that we haven't seen before. Not really sure how to react. We were talking about it earlier on the show with Tiger baseball coach Bradley Stallins about, not really sure how to handle this. And as far as basketball games go, it's going to be weird, I know, for you guys to sit there in the gym and try to cover a game without any fans in the stands.
Yeah, and really because the emphasis is totally off basketball now. It's almost more on what the concerns are for the health and the safety of everybody involved. And I mean, if you're out there playing a game, I don't know how you would be, but if I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, I might think, I wonder if that guy I'm playing against had just bumped and rubbed his sweaty arm all down me. What if he's sick? I mean, maybe kids don't think that way, but you just kind of wonder. And I think there's a really good chance the SEC spring football games, I think we're going to see all of those canceled or at least played in empty stadiums. But there was also some talk among conference officials last night about whether spring football practice might even continue, because you've got 70, 80, 90 guys on each team that are out there practicing, bumping, touching, contacting each other every time they practice. And those guys go out around campus and around your community and all. And so I don't know. I think with what the NBA did, it's going to have a huge impact on what a lot of other sports events are going to have to do now, or feel like they have to do.
Larry, Ty Engelbright here. Good morning. And just give us a sense. You've been down there, I guess, a few days now. You're in the hotels. You're maybe been in some restaurants. You're talking to, different media representatives and stuff. Give us a human take on what you're experiencing down there and what folks are talking about, not necessarily about the games, but just the potential just fears and confusion that might be going on with all this. What are you hearing?
I think fear and confusion are two pretty good words to use. I think there's a lot of fans that felt like they should be allowed to make their own decision if they wanted to come to the game. If the game was being played and they were willing to come, they should be allowed to go ahead and come on in. And I think I was probably in that category myself 24 hours ago, but the more I've kind of watched and listened and thinking about that, not only that if I'm willing to risk, I could get sick, but then what if I contact that virus and I go out for 2 or 3 days before I really know I have it, and I give it to my mother or give it to my grandchildren or give it to my neighbors or something like that. How irresponsible would that be on my part? So I think I probably have changed my thinking a little bit on that. But there was the biggest crowd I could ever remember at the Wednesday night session last night when the 4 worst teams play. There's usually next to nobody there. You could almost count people, and I would say the arena was anywhere from half to 2/3 full. so there wasn't a lot of activity out in the downtown area, which they're normally done on Wednesday night anyway. But the people that may have normally been out on Wednesday night, they were all in the games for a change. Now, what it's going to be like today, I haven't really been out enough to know. I know I have friends from back in the Danville area that some of them were able to cancel their rooms. They're not coming to the tournament now. Some are still coming down because they had 3-night guarantee on the room and they can't get out of it. So they're still going to kind of come and just hang around. What the weather today will do, whether we'll be able to really see them hanging around and mingling or not. But I know the two places I went into yesterday, restaurants, bars, whatever you want to call them, the folks there were pretty devastated about what they think the financial hit they're going to take by fans not being allowed to come to the tournament.
Yeah, that's the big thing, I think, is, Kentucky, Nashville loves Kentucky fans. And, of course, after the games, you have everybody spilling out into Broadway. Were you able to kind of look down Broadway, Honky Tonk Row, and all that and get a sense that it was a little bit thinner as you've been there, or does it seem like it was business as usual?
No, it was much, much thinner last night. But, again, sometimes that's kind of normal on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And, again, with so many people in the stands that normally wouldn't be there. A lot of people on Wednesday night would just kind of go and enjoy a big night of it and not come to the games because they really didn't care about seeing those four teams play. And if you had a book, you just kind of ate that ticket and didn't worry about it. But last night there were many, many, many more people. When they actually announced during the game that the fans would not be allowed in for the rest of the tournament, there were a lot of boos, and the chant of cats, cats, cats were started immediately because there was a bunch of Kentucky fans in the arena. So a lot of disappointed folks and confused folks. Hadn't really had a chance to talk to any of the Kentucky players' parents or anything like that, hoping to maybe do that today just to kind of get their reaction, because I think it'll be kind of an interesting perspective if you have a son out there actually playing. Are you glad they're still playing? Are you glad there's no fans there? Do you wish they weren't even playing at all? I mean, I don't know if I was a parent. I think I'd probably have a lot of mixed emotions right now.
I think it was how quickly this all came about that really kind of caught us all, I guess, a little off guard, because once the SEC tournament started and there were fans there, I think we all just maybe assumed that that's the way the tournament was going to play out. So the fact that there's fans one day and then the next day there's not going to be fans kind of is hard to get your head around.
I think from what information I was told by a couple of folks is that the SEC officials weren't expecting the NCAA to make this kind of decision on Wednesday, that they thought that might be coming Friday or Saturday, and that they would be okay to go ahead and do what they were doing based on what health officials here in Nashville were telling them. But I think they felt like when the NCAA made that decision, and I think several other conferences did the same thing after that, you had no choice but to kind of go along with what the NCAA said. And the point you made about fans being at the game last night, I think the people that I talked to, I know there was one lady I talked to, she said there was 3 rows, and she said it was all full. Everybody has books for the whole tournament. So she said it was okay for us to all sit together last night, but we can't sit together on Thursday because we might make each other sick. I think that's the part that you're hit on right there, that the fans that are here didn't understand either.
Well, and Big Blue Nation just pretty much takes over the arena down there in Nashville. And hey, again, not to downplay the seriousness of anything, but I know there are a lot of fans in Western Kentucky that don't get to make the trip to Rupp Arena a whole lot, so they save up all year so they can go to the SEC tournament. It's kind of their trip every year, big trip to see the Cats, and now they've been told at the last second they can't do that anymore. So, I think that's just tough for a lot of people to kind of get a grip on it.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's something all of us are going to have to do. I mean, my wife and I have a cruise planned in May and been kind of debating on what we were going to do. We don't have to debate anymore. Princess Cruise announced this morning they're suspending operations for 60 days, so the cruise isn't going out. Now all I got to do is try to decide what I'm going to do for refund, but they took that decision out of our hands, and I think there's going to be more and more things that are going to be like that. I mean, I really wonder now, I don't know what you all would think, but I wonder if they'll even be able to have the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
That's a great point, Larry. And I think if you really look at things, we need a little bit of from stuff I've read about it. But we need a change in the weather pattern. It seems like it's just this cold, damp. You look at climates across the world where you've got your arid, more temperate, less humidity and stuff. That this thing seems to be dying down. But I think we need a little bit of weather and some time in our favor. And I think if you look out as you head toward Derby Day, it's really probably going to be pushing it, that 60-day window. Your cruise is in May, and right there at the beginning of May, that's right there in the wheelhouse of probably where we're going to see some of the stoppage of these sporting events. So I think you're exactly right. I'm sure that's probably going to be in question, and that is a worldwide event. I mean, you have people coming from all over the world for the Kentucky Derby, so that's really going to be interesting to see whether they can even come in with the new restrictions.
Yeah. And if they call off WrestleMania Friday night, that's going to be a big deal.
Big time.
So, but I mean, Major League Baseball, a lot of different things. So there's so many things going through. And again, I don't consider myself a person that normally panics or scares easy or over worries about things. But last night I had kind of one of those weird nights. I was pretty restless and worried about not just myself, but what might happen if I got it and didn't know it and how it would impact others. And I mean, it makes you just want to kind of go get a tent, go to the mountains somewhere and just
want to crawl in a hole,
and drink water. Yeah.
You're exactly right.
It reminds me, and I'm old enough to remember, which a lot of probably people listening won't even, but when I was young and there was a threat of the nuclear attack and everybody was talking about building bomb shelters and everything underground and storing supplies and stocking up and everything, because what if a nuclear attack came? Only way you could survive was have an underground shelter. It's kind of the same type of panic I sense going on right now.
It's a little eerie, but hopefully, we will have several. I think we've got in today's 24-hour news cycle with cable news networks, the political season. I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of information out there that it just confuses things. A lot of fear, and hopefully, we'll just have at some point a solid voice of reason that will kind of put all this into perspective and maybe help clarify some of this. But I guess all we can do at this point is just go with the flow and do the best we can to just practice those regular safety things that we would for any other type of thing, the flu especially. Keep our hands washed, and just do those kind of things. And it's all we can do.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've got the cleanest hands I've had in my 67 years.
No doubt. Mine are cracking and breaking right now. So,
yeah, I mean, I've probably washed my hands more in the last 5 days than I've washed in the last 5 years.
We're talking this morning with Larry Vaught. He's in Nashville covering the Cats and the SEC tournament. And, Larry, I'm guessing right now Kentucky's still scheduled to play Friday at noon. Had a lot more UK questions I wanted to get to you, but things kind of changed quickly over the last 24 hours. But as a program, what's the feeling around the Cats? The team, do they want to play? Are they ready to play? Are they preparing any special way to play without fans there in the arena?
Well, we'll get some of those answers this afternoon. John Calipari will be available to the media late afternoon, or I'm assuming he's in Nashville. The Kentucky team was scheduled to leave late yesterday afternoon after practice to come down here, and I didn't see anything about them not coming. And there's a press opportunity scheduled for late afternoon after the Tennessee Alabama game gets over, and Calipari knows he'll be playing. It's when he always does his press opportunity. So I'm guessing we'll find out a few of those answers there and kind of get a better feeling for what's going on. But then Calipari's pretty active on social media, so you could go to his Twitter account and see what he tweeted out last night about which I thought was kind of ironic. He tweeted about he was sad for the fans and all because he knew how much the tournament means to them, yet he always talks about the SEC tournament doesn't mean anything. So I think that shows that John sometimes says one thing and knows another, and I think he knows how disappointed many Kentucky fans are. Now the one thing all of this has done, all of a sudden there sure was no more talk about what's wrong with Ashton Hagens down here. That certainly went away in the last 24 hours.
Well, that question was on my list. I was going to ask you about that and what you thought Kentucky's seeding might be for the NCAA and how many teams the SEC might get in, but like you said, over the past 24 hours, the priorities kind of got changed a little bit there.
Yeah, they did. I think if Kentucky could win this tournament, they still got a chance at a 2 seed. And I think Kentucky will probably play pretty well in this tournament. I think if they get to play, I think they are looking forward to it. So, but again, when you're playing those empty gyms and all these other thoughts going on, I don't think anybody knows what may or may not happen. So it's going to be an interesting day.
And it seemed like the Cats were playing pretty well down the stretch outside of maybe the second half of that Tennessee game.
Yeah, and that seems like it's kind of jaded everybody's opinion about them. You forget about what they did the last half at Florida, or what they did the first half at Tennessee, and what they've done the 8 games before, because they were so pitiful that last 20 minutes against Tennessee. But when you look around the country, it happens to everybody. And that's, I've got friends that have already told me that their fear is the NCAA will call the tournament off and won't let the games be played, and then let's go ahead and automatically award the championship to Duke, because they always think they're going to win it anyway.
Oh, no, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us, and stay safe down there in Nashville.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us, Larry.
That is Larry Vaught, longtime UK columnist, and at the SEC tournament in Nashville. Hopefully there is more SEC tournament in Nashville. The Cats scheduled to play at noon on Friday in their first game of the tournament down there. And like I said, Ty, I had a whole lot more basketball questions to ask Larry, but between the time I made my notes and we actually got here today, some other things had occurred, and the interviews we did today kind of took a different turn.
And as we mentioned, it's been a little fast and furious. You get to where Larry made an interesting point how everybody was, and you did as well, everybody kind of came down, was prepared, and now all of a sudden, we're not playing in front of fans, maybe a first step, and the game's not being played at all. So it'll be interesting to see how the day unfolds and what might happen with the tournaments.
Well, and I think I'm kind of in the same boat that Larry was in, that right. when all this first started happening yesterday, you're thinking this is a gross overreaction to the situation. But then as you start looking at it, and, we're not privy to all the information the World Health Organization has, or the CDC has, or the government has, the fact that so many of these professional organizations and colleges are canceling all these things, kind of makes you wonder exactly what is going on, and are we taking all the precautions we need to?
Well, I think maybe that why you see these things not happening is in the best interest of public health. You want to think that. And certainly it's important to realize that obviously this strain of virus is highly contagious. So, the close contacts that the athletes have, that the fans may potentially have in closed off areas and in small spaces, and even in, arenas or large spaces, but you can find yourself in a situation where you're crammed, right on top of each other. So, obviously, there's some seriousness out there, and folks in the public health and our government and these organizations are erring on the side of caution and doing what they feel like is best in the public's interest.
Again, it's going to be an eerie situation to kind of see some of these things on TV with very, very few people in the stands, if hardly anybody at all. And, again, Larry mentioned it during the interview there that the last time you can really think of anything remotely similar to this was the 2008 Southeastern Conference basketball tournament, when the tornado rolled through Atlanta and damaged the Georgia Dome and left the SEC scrambling to try to find some place to play. They ended up eventually playing the championship game at Georgia Tech's arena, but,
that was limited fans there, wasn't it?
Right, but because, you've got an arena that seats, 13 or 14,000 maybe at Georgia Tech, if it's that big. I don't know if it's that big. Yeah. And from the Georgia Dome, they've sold 30,000 tickets plus, so exactly. The only fair thing was just to not let anybody in except for, close family. And Georgia ended up beating Kentucky that year in what was basically an empty gym at Georgia Tech. And, I tried to look a little bit last night to see if I could find any similar occurrences. I think you have to go back 100 years. The flu epidemic back in 1918.
Spanish flu, yeah.
Yeah, really shook the entire planet. And from the information I could find, about a third of the world's population back then contracted this. Some reports say estimated to be at least 50 million deaths worldwide, with about 675,000 occurring in the United States. And that shut down schools for several months. I don't think there was a high school football season here that year. maybe a few schools in the area played a few games,
Right.
but that mostly shut all that down. And of course, it's 100 years later, and a whole lot of things are different now than they were back then. And certainly the word gets out a lot quicker now than it probably did at that point. But
that, and people are moving more
Yeah.
and getting, they're just more in contact with each other, I think, than they probably were in 1918. But still, it can be a little scary for folks when every here we are, spending a sports show talking about this, but it's affecting sports.
Well, and I said when we came on, we didn't want to make it the coronavirus episode, but it's kind of become that.
But as you turn on your radios, you turn on your television sets or whatever, that's just what's out there. And then of course carrying around your cell phone. So it is what it is, and we just have to kind of see where it goes from here.
We appreciate Bradley Stallins, the Tiger baseball head coach, for stopping with us today. Larry Vaught, longtime Kentucky columnist and also a writer for YourSportsEdge.com. You can read some of Larry's work over on our website. Check that out, YourSportsEdge.com. He's been on the show before, Ty. We appreciate him checking in from Nashville, and been a good, productive, informative show today, but like to focus on sports more than, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV.
Don't play one on TV or the radio.
Right.
But yeah, and it was interesting in my mind to get Larry's input of just what the feel of Nashville is, as many folks from all over the place, all over SEC
and not just
country.
that, but he actually mentioned that there's some feeling that they might not even finish the SEC tournament,
Exactly.
and they might not even play the NCAA tournament. So
right, and I think that's probably trickling down, possibly from higher ups, and it'd be interesting to see. And I know Larry, being the old sports reporter that he is going to be on top of things down there, and it's interesting to hear what he might hear later on today.
As far as sports goes, we did hear Coach Stallins say no scrimmage today over at Hopkinsville.
Mainly due to weather.
Yeah, that's a weather concern. We've had some rain. The fields are wet. Hopkinsville, apparently it didn't feel like they could have their field ready to play today, so no scrimmage for the Tiger baseball team. The Tigers will open the regular season Monday. Crittenden County visits the VFW ballpark, and hopefully no concerns about viruses, and hopefully the weather is good next week, and we can actually get spring sports rolling and kind of have that going for us.
Hoping for some good springtime weather as we roll into spring sports season. I know the Tiger tennis season is underway. They're off to a great start.
Congrats to Coach Steve Cookie Hicko for his first win as Tiger and Lady Tiger tennis coach.
That's exactly right. So I think it was St. Mary's that came to town out of the tennis courts the other day, and both the girls and boys. Girls had a little bit tougher time on their side, but good matches and good win for our tennis teams.
And those tennis squads, playing out there on the CCHS tennis courts on that hillside, it's you have to have you have to be really fired up to get out there and play. And when the cold wind's blowing, and I think it's 20 degrees colder on that hillside than any place else in Caldwell County.
I think it is, and of course when you have an overcast day like that, and I think the temperature probably, the clouds act as a blanket. So when it starts off kind of cool and you got a little wind, it's a pretty cool day.
Oh yeah.
So
tennis team scheduled to go to Christian County today. Again, not sure how the weather's going to affect that. As we always say this time of year, though, the schedule is always
subject.
Yeah, weather permitting.
Weather permitting.
So before you head out to baseball or softball or tennis or track, always try to check and make sure that the event, number one, is still being played. Number two, that the venue has not changed.
That's
right. Just that time of year, you have to double check everything before you head out.
And if you're on Twitter, follow Todd Griffin.
Yes, always try to get those
keep you
updates
informed.
out.
That's right, and it'll be on the WPKY website. We can post them there as well, so to keep you up to date.
Again, thanks to Brad Stallins for coming in. He's the Tiger baseball coach, and the Tigers beginning the season on Monday. Thanks to Larry Vaught for joining us from Nashville with some good information there. Ty, thanks for sticking around today and being on the show.
Great to be here, Todd. Thank you.
That's going to wrap up the Sideline Report for this Thursday. Thank you for listening. This is Todd Griffin of WPKY Radio and YourSportsEdge.com. This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY Princeton.
Fox News. News. I'm Chris Foster. Reported coronavirus cases are up more than 5% worldwide since yesterday. Part of that's the spread, part's more testing, and non-Americans starting Saturday will not be allowed into the U.S. from 26 countries in Europe. Vice President Pence tells Fox,
every American that is returning from Europe will be screened as they return through 13 separate airports and will be asked to self-quarantine for 14 days.
More than 1,300 coronavirus cases are in the U.S. now with 36 deaths. More colleges are canceling in-person classes. White House tours are suspended. Princess cruises are canceled for 2 months. The NBA season is suspended, and Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban tells Fox Sports,
maybe this ends up being for the best. You minimize, you just have fewer cases and fewer distribution, and then good things happen. So, and hopefully we get it all figured out.
Just after the opening bell on Wall Street, the Dow is down around 1,600 points. America's listening to Fox News.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Looking to put that refund money towards a new set of brakes? Let's do it. We recommend Duralast brakes. They're designed to stop quieter, and you can only find them here. You'll save more if you buy our Duralast pads and rotors together. They start at just $99.99. We can even deliver them to you next day. Just order online by 10 p.m. on AutoZone.com and choose free next-day delivery. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents... Doug.
Limu, when we're not telling people that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, I've actually been moonlighting as a DJ. What? Check it! Here's the good part! Liberty, 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 liberty. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Treasures Remembered.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. The Storm Prediction Center has placed Western Kentucky under an enhanced risk for severe weather this afternoon and into the evening hours. That means the area is under an increased risk of damaging wind gusts, hail, and a few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Otherwise, we'll see showers and thunderstorms with a high around 70 today. Overnight, more of the same with the low around 44. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high around 54. And then Saturday, more rain in the forecast, high around 46.
You can always expect great things at Planters Bank. When we say expect great things, what we're really saying is Planters Bank is here to provide the financial services you need. Planters Bank believes in the strength of our community and is a full-service financial institution. Our employees have a true passion for helping our neighbors, and it shows. See Jake Pepper and the rest of the Planters Bank staff at 208 North Jefferson. Planters Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
We're proud to serve Caldwell County and you. 1580 103.3 WPKY. Worldwide at WPKYonline.com.
Menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for the place called Lee Ho Fooks, gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ahoo, where was London? Ahoo, ahoo, where was London? Howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again. Ahoo, werewolves of London. gent who ran amok in Kent. Lately he's been overheard in Mayfair. You better stay away from him. He'll rip your lungs out, Jim. I'd like to meet his tailor. Ah, werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw Lon Chaney Jr. walking with the Queen, doing the werewolves of London. I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. And his hair was perfect.
Ticket to anywhere, maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make something. Me, myself, I got nothing to prove. You got a fast car, I got a plan to get us out of here. Been working at the convenience store. Managed to save just a little bit of money. Won't have to drive too far. Just cross the border and into the city. You and I can